Before the fame, before the audience and the name, FaZe Sway was just an ordinary video game-loving teenager. After a long day of school, he'd hop straight onto Fortnite, just like so many of us did. And he might have not known it at the time, but with every day that passed, he was slowly building an everlasting legacy. Anyone could record themselves playing video games. Seriously, all it takes is a click of a button. Still, against all odds, Sway managed to set himself apart from the competition. His reputation as a top-tier controller player helped grow his fan base like wildfire. From the OG days of Season 3 all the way to the world of Chapter 2, Sway managed to evolve into one of the most famous Fortnite YouTubers of all time. Welcome guys, my name is Christoph, and this is the video on the evolution of Sway. But before we get into the video, if you guys want to improve at Fortnite and you want to get better this season, make sure to go to ProGuides.com and find yourself a pro player right now. Probably as good as Sway to play within your games right now. They're waiting online 24/7. You won't regret it. All right guys, let's get into the video. So if you were to go to Sway's channel, click on videos, and sort by the oldest, you'd expect to find some ancient Fortnite clips at the top, but no. Sway's first videos were put out about a month before Fortnite was even released, and his first one was called Easy De-Atomizer. That's right, Sway started his content career with some Call of Duty gameplay that showed his absolutely incredible skills. Nukes were no easy feat to achieve in Call of Duty, but here's young Sway getting 25 kills in only 3 minutes. And although he didn't have much of an audience to see it, even back then, his skill was just undeniable. Sway's real journey didn't start until October 2017. That's when he uploaded his first ever Fortnite video titled 1 vs 3. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, this isn't that crazy, I mean come on, all those guys he killed are bots, but this was the first month the game was out. Pretty much nobody knew how to build, especially on a controller, so seeing Sway utilize the mechanic that had most players baffled paints a perfect picture of his future success. By the way, that word art at the end was a pretty nice touch. But after uploading this video, Sway noticed a steady rise in views. The new Fortnite content craze helped give his channel the kickstart that it needed, so he made the decision to start prioritizing Fortnite content entirely over anything else. His decision proved to be fruitful, and his channel began rising in popularity almost instantly. A few months later, Sway finally passed the 1,000 subscriber milestone, and to celebrate, he put out a good old gameplay montage.
Bro, Sway, bro. I swear, bro. If you get this win, you're nasty. You're naughty, bro. Oh God, bro. If you get this, you're naughty. You're naughty, man.
One thing clear in this video was just how nuts Sway had gotten. His building, aim, and movement were just miles ahead of the average player. Wow, going back and watching these early Fortnite vids sure brings back some memories. Oh, the good old tilted towers. Sway would drop tilted almost every game and go from fight to fight, improving his aim, building, and overall skill. Too bad tilted's gone, to be honest. Drop an F in the comments if you guys miss it too. Fast forwarding into the future, we see Sway's first ever hit video. For some reason, it's ominously titled Period. Still, it was the most significant boost his channel had ever seen. Though surprisingly, Sway received a lot of backlash from viewers for this video. Just look at that, over 1,000 dislikes. Comments were criticizing him at every turn, calling his aim horrible and his builds panicky, but from pressure and hate comes motivation and success. So after this, Sway kept creating Fortnite videos, this time getting more creative with his titles. Titles that expressed his confidence and showed that he had what it took to be one of the best in the world. Within no time, his talents were noticed, and he was picked up by the small Fortnite team, Vicious. After joining Vicious, Sway started becoming more and more noticed. Heads were turning, and Vicious host Sway was the name being recognized in the console community. By the way, if you couldn't tell, his real name, Sway, is how he eventually got the name Sway. At this point though, Sway was grinding hard to pump out content, while at the same time improving his gameplay drastically. So what allowed Sway to blow up and gain traction? Well, to put it simply, it was due to his insane skill. But how did he get so talented? There were hundreds, maybe even thousands of people grinding the game daily to get better. How was Sway able to beat them all out? Well, starting on April 23rd, 2018, he uploaded his first ever build battle video, a new series on his channel where he took on high-level builders in head-on fights. In these videos, we'd see Sway initiate every build battle he could by rushing at opponents. And remember, this was the period before Playground or Creative were even in the game. All you could do was grind your way through pub matches. Sway did this, but he had his own style. While most players prioritized getting the victory royale, Sway was focused on engaging in as many build battles as he could. To him, wins meant nothing. Improving was the only thing that he valued. This crucial factor in Sway's early days is what mainly is responsible for his incredible skill. Well, you look at footage from over a year ago, and he's still better than almost most players today. That's because in the good old days, if you weren't W keying and getting into fights, there was no other way for you to improve your mechanics.
Let's go! 20 kills!
So by continuously forcing engagements, Sway started becoming the Fortnite god at this time. He was pulling off high-kill solo squad games, dropping 20 bombs left and right at a time when it was unheard of for controller players to do that. Yes, later on, legends like Nick Merckx and Gronky would get them all the time, but Sway was doing it before them. Being one of the first also fueled his momentum and justified him being on the top of the console player list as well. Watching his gameplay, we do realize one thing, and that is that his building is, well, it's kind of slow. And we don't mean this in a bad way. When compared to pro gameplay today, it does seem a bit primitive. Still, you have to keep two things in mind. Number one, back then there was no Builder Pro option, only Combat Pro, meaning that you'd have to circle through your different building pieces every time you wanted to place something. Those tedious controls made complex building techniques nearly impossible on controller. It was awful. Thankfully, better options were added, and the skill potential of players like Sway skyrocketed at this time. And number two, this was all the way back in seasons 3 and 4, so techniques weren't as developed as they are today. Nowadays, we find players cranking 90s and bursting out those building moves, but back then, they were practically impossible on controller. Let's fast forward a bit and take a look at a critical point in Fortnite history, the introduction of the Playground. Playground became a permanent addition to the game on July 25th, and finally, it gave all players from noob to pro an environment to test and develop their talents. And with its release, Sway was taking off. He was already a fanatic for pushing his building skills to the limit, so Playgrounds was pretty much his dream come true. Speaking of building, you guys know 90s, right? They're probably the most well-known building technique, but you want to know who helped popularize them? Well, that's right, none other than FaZe Sway. Everyone else was still using the old myth build-up strategy, but it ended up being so outdated. It used more materials and it wasn't very quick at gaining height. But given Sway's expertise in building, he quickly started preferring another faster and much more efficient method. If it wasn't for Sway, a ton of players wouldn't even know how to make the best 90s. At this point, Sway was growing at an unbelievable pace, so much so that he outgrew Team Vicious and decided to join and co-lead Chronic alongside a few other well-known names. One being his friend Luis, who he still plays with today. For a while, Chronic was one of the most popular teams out there. Their recruitment challenges allowed anybody to potentially join and feel if they were part of this big thing. And it really helped boost the org from nothing all the way to the top. That is, until they disband. Unfortunately, without much structure or an end goal, teams like Chronic can't sustain themselves for very long, so the majority of the members moved on to other things. And on March 12th, 2019, our dear friend Sway was picked up by one of the most well-known orgs in the world, FaZe Clan. Like with most people that join FaZe, Sway exploded in popularity. He wasn't just some kid uploading build battle montages from his PS4, he was now FaZe Sway. With almost 1 million subscribers, the news of him joining pretty much broke the internet for a couple of days. Anyone could talk about was FaZe Sway. The guy's talents had reached levels never thought to be possible. Unfortunately though, increased popularity has its downsides. Because of a mishap with creator codes, Sway missed out on tens of thousands of dollars in revenue simply because there's another YouTuber called Sway. You see, FaZe Sway's code is Yo Sway. He had to set it to that because the other guy's code was Sway, and he had that first. Fans eager to support Sway forgot about the Yo, and as you can see, it led to thousands of dollars being funneled to the wrong creator. Since the magical moment of joining FaZe, Sway's growth had been incredible. His subscriber count more than doubled to now over 2 million subscribers, and he also got invited to big money competitions like Fortnite Friday, where he made an absolutely dominant showing, clutching up solo squads and serving up evidence why he deserves the title of best controller player in the world.
The storm flip, he's gonna get away. What a break off the bottom he had. Sway, of course, Glider redeploys. He is making a show out of these players. One still remains. He's got plenty of mats to make it work.
From the backside, still 3 players left. That would be 28 eliminations. Double trap for good measure. Hey, enjoy it.
With it.
Enjoy it.
Now it's the Bushman versus Sway.
This is incredible.
The player drops.
What can't this man do?
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my God.
27 eliminations. Valkyrie, why'd you leave?
There's the bush.
Everybody left, actually.
Oh my God, he's got
Or no, there
28
you go,
kills,
Sway.
bro.
Besides all of these astounding life-changing developments, Sway also became known in the community as the quintessential creative warrior. His retakes were top-notch, his builds were as smooth as they could be, and he even took the Mongrel Edit Course world record, beat it, and then surpassed his own record once again. The majority of Sway's content nowadays consists of 1v1s against well-known players, exciting match highlights, and clips of him cranking out awe-inspiring free builds. There's a ton to watch on his channel, and if you aren't already subscribed to him, you absolutely should be. He's an incredible wonder in Fortnite. FaZe Sway has had a truly remarkable career, one with a lot of meaning and a lot of hard work behind it. It's really easy to look at him and say, wow, he's so lucky, but when you look back at the past 2 years and you see the sweat and blood he sacrificed, you realize that he definitely deserves the success. That's our video concluding the evolution of FaZe Sway. What an interesting guy, an amazing story he has, and he's still building his legacy as we speak. Once again, my name is Christoph, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like or consider subscribing to the channel. If you guys want to get better at Fortnite this season, make sure to click the description link below and go find your pro player right now to play with in your games. That's it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck in your next few games.